let's get back to work, shall we? And if you're new here and don't know what I'm talking about, hey, what's going on? I'm Dom from Speed Freaks.
I got family.
Just finished getting this table done so I could put all my badass tools that we just bought to use, actually, so that we can get started on this, because we have 41 days left to beat the Peck brothers at the off-road games. And I know some of you went, oh yes, finally, the cool stuff again. What's he gonna do first on this awesome video? Well, the first thing actually is gonna be putting a new top on top of that table. Got a big chunk of metal that we're gonna do that. It's gonna be a minute of this video. 1 minute of your time. If you wanna skip through it, there you go, here's a timestamp, cry to your mama. All right, like I said, before we get working on this, we need to get this tabletop completely off of here and then just replace it with a 1/4-inch thick plate. Gonna use the old plasma torch over there to cut it out. Then we're gonna get this thing started and working so that we can actually do the tubes on the back of this thing for the seat. I don't know if I'm gonna do tubes just yet or grab the Arc Droid tomorrow and make sure that everything's cut out and badass. That is one pretty decked out welding table, if I do say myself. We got the notcher, the cutter, and the tube bender. Now we can finally get started on getting everything else done for this damn thing, because everything is all set up. Oh, and we do have the Arc Droid. I don't know if I'm gonna use it this video or next week's video, because we only have 1 day to film everything, because I was getting screwed over by work. But let's get started. I literally hate my life right now. You wanna know why? Because I asked my steel shop for 1.25 inches, but they gave me 1.5/16. So they're not open on Saturdays, which sucks. So we get to look at this fancy nice thing. We get to, you know, touch it and feel it, but we don't get to use it. We got to use this little crappy one. And the only reason this video was taking so long is because I wanted to use the good one and wait for it to get here. This is so stupid. But I can't really say much because at least thankfully I do have that. I'm grateful that it's at least there. So we're gonna get this thing all measured up in the pieces, get the seat in there, get my positioning where I want it to be, start building brackets. And since we were doing just brackets, I thought might as well just break out the Arc Droid. So for the next 5 hours, I worked on that. Alright, we are finally ready, and if you stuck with it, you're a G, and if you did it, I understand it. I do the same thing sometimes. Hey, you know what you gotta do. We've finally gotten everything ready, everything situated, and we are finally started on making the seat brackets for this little thing. Got the math all done up. It was real easy and fast. About ready to get this thing cut out on the Arc Droid, get 2 of them done, and then just pray that I'm, you know, did everything correctly. And it ran horribly. I moved it from here to here. Everything worked perfectly fine from there to here. But now that it's time to actually cut stuff, it's beeping at me. I don't know what to do. It's brand new. Literally just screaming at me the entire time. And I've tried everything, feeler gauge under the screen to get the debris out. You know, this thing's brand new. It should not have debris in it. It's never even cut anything. So we're gonna try and see if the update is what's wrong with it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. All right, came back tomorrow morning, downloaded the software, everything was already up to date, so that just means that the screen's probably broken or something. Don't know how that happened, but we get to use the original Arc Droid that made everybody's life easier, a giant shear. So what we're gonna do here is we're basically just gonna build a bracket that contours to this little shape right here, and then we're basically gonna put a little bracket right here, here, and here. These are for the 2 bars. These are the ones that we just made up. I don't know if I'm gonna take it for a test rip. Might be able to, might not be able to. It is literally 9 o'clock on Sunday. I gotta upload this by 5 o'clock. Alright, so we got our overall shape cut out to where we want it to be. It's basically just gonna fit flat right here. There's gonna be a back piece later on, but right now we're just gonna do the base plate. So it would have been nice to just, you know, put this right here, trace it out with that Arc Droid. Would have taken maybe like 4 minutes, have it cut out like some cool little stuff like, you know, Grindhard does, but we don't have that, so we get to, you know, cut it out by hand. So I'll see you guys when it's done. Shouldn't be no arguments, cause you're now viewing the greatest of all time, saying I can't get better. I promise they all lying on my confidence. Yeah. Even though that would have literally done this in like a minute, we did get it done. It's been about an hour, but we're gonna get this thing even cooler. There's one tool that I actually just bought that is gonna make this look so much nicer, and it's actually gonna strengthen it up a little bit. So I'm gonna get to showing you guys that. You need to start working, because that was terrible. Dimple dyes. Now, everything that's dimple dyed is automatically 10,000 times cooler. And once this plate is cleaned off and it looks all fresh, it's gonna actually look like somebody who knows what they're doing was building it, which I don't really do. But these things are said to be rated for an 1/8 inch thick. I have a 20-ton press over there. Let's get seeing if it actually is rated for it. Hell yeah, that thing looks sick. Look at that thing. I mean, it's a little bit crushed because I went a little bit too far, a little bit too hard in the paint, but I mean, it literally looks gorgeous. Once we clean this piece up, that's not even gonna be a problem. But that thing is absolutely awesome. And I just figured out something. I won't be able to do the other holes because, well, it's just gonna crush that. So kinda sucks, but you know, it is what it is. But let's get this piece cleaned off before we do anything else because I wanna see what it looks like all shined up. All right, we got this thing done, and it's probably one of the coolest things I've ever built. If I had these 3 all done up, that would be absolutely sick, but we weren't able to do that, sadly, so, you know, it is what it is. But we're gonna get some more holes drilled out because we gotta get that thing in the seat, so we gotta touch that nasty thing with this nice clean thing. Yay. All right, so this piece is all bent out. Now we just need to get it basically drilled out so that we can tap some holes in here and then go mount it onto our seat. I'm actually pretty excited about this piece, and it's not because just it's a seat bracket. It goes to show that the quality of Speed Freaks is absolutely exponentially better with all these cool stuff. We didn't even use that damn thing, and this thing is absolutely sick. Imagine if we used it. And I know it's just a seat bracket, you know, everybody's gonna be like, I could have made that. And yeah, probably. And we need to figure out, you know, the dimple dyes and where to align stuff, but goes to show that the quality of these videos are gonna get better and everything is gonna be cooler. But that being said, we gotta get onto the brackets that actually mount this piece to the inside of this piece. I think these tabs are just gonna be a little bit too short, so we're gonna redo these things real quick. So now that we got this piece all traced up with cardboard, that is like the greatest setup. If the Arc Droid was working, woo, this would be an awesome setup, because this is just clean, straight cuts. But we're gonna get this piece all cut out on this little guy, and then we'll get it welded in there, and maybe the seat might actually be on there. Alright, so these bad boys are all cut up and chopped out. I forgot that I was actually just gonna clean these off, so there was no need to really burr the edges. This machine's gonna do it anyways for me. So, we're gonna get these pieces cleaned off, get the holes punched. I might add a dimple. I don't really know. I might. I'm kind of addicted to those things. It might make it look sick, might make it look stupid. Who knows? We're gonna try. Absolutely worth it. I mean, these things just look absolutely amazing. I mean, I wish I had a vise in there because this edge right here is just because the hole saw is kind of dancing around a little bit because, well, it's a hole saw. And this one looks pretty good, but they both look amazing compared to just a flat piece of metal. And since they have those little lips, they're a little bit stronger. So we're gonna get the holes drilled out so that we can bolt them onto that piece, and then we'll get it tacked up and we'll test it. All right, these bad boys are done, so now we just need to get them tacked. All right, so now that these bad boys are done, we're gonna get them on inside there and then get them tacked up. So they're in there and it does work, but one of these little nuts right here, this one right here, was just a little bit further, outwards than this one. So we're just gonna take this one out real quick and then probably just move it down the way a little bit and then get this piece welded on, and then boom, we'll have a seat mounted up. And there we go, we got a seat finally in this thing, and I can actually kind of sit in there. Let me show you guys real quick. All right, so this is exactly how you're gonna sit. I think I might, you know, angle it up a little bit more, but I like the nice relaxed seating position. Plus, we wanna be able to do some wheelies in this thing. I mean, come on now. If it doesn't win the race, at least you're gonna do a wheelie, look cool. But basically, we're just gonna add a steering wheel right here. I think I'm gonna try to lower it as much as I can, give myself a little bit more room, might trim these out, but this is basically how it's gonna look. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I would drive it right now like this if I could, but I have no exhaust and it's literally shooting at my leg right now, so it's not really possible. How's it going? It's the next day. It was Super Bowl, so I didn't post because I knew that my video was gonna get screwed by views, but we fixed the Arc Droid. We're gonna get the seat all in here. I'm unstoppable now. I mean, I did this little bad thing right here. I don't know, well, obviously you guys have seen it, without the Arc Droid, and it took me 2 hours. This thing would have had that done in like 5 minutes. So let's get started on making some cool stuff for this badass build and get everything done. But I gotta organize this real quick so that it makes it a lot faster to do everything. I'm not gonna show you guys that. You guys are just gonna get sped through it in a snap like this. Welcome to Pimp My Ride Plasma Table Edition. Let me show you these little spinners we got on here. Beautiful, cut out. These handles, gorgeous, look at them. They even fold away whenever you take this off. Let's say you're gonna bump into this, bam, you go like this. Hell no, you ain't gonna bump into them no more. Then you gotta move it, bam. Then you're putting it away, everything's all tucked up, nice and neatly. Everything is where it is supposed to be. So now we're gonna get started on actually taking this thing apart and basically cutting up cool stuff for it so that we can beat the Peck brothers. And I know this isn't the exact space the Arc Droid needs. It's just, you know, I didn't want to hang it off the side this long. I would rather it be this way. And we're gonna get an actual table for this thing to sit on that is a literal plasma table for it. But now that we got the plasma table done, we're actually gonna do the first thing that really matters. We're gonna get this seat fully bolted into where it's actually where I need it to be. Because right now, as you saw, the bottom piece is done and it looks absolutely gorgeous. But now we gotta match that energy with this piece that goes obviously to the back and connects it to everything. Let's get the seat bolted back in and get started on working on our back mounts. So let me tell you what's going through my head right now. We're gonna use these little base brackets right here. I'm gonna cut off a piece on the Arc Droid that comes all the way out to here, and then it goes to a little circle tab so that I can weld some tubing on here. But we're basically just gonna use that footwell to have a steel tube go all the way around here, basically to the back of the seat. There's gonna be a rear strap, a big thick boy right here. I think this is about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little even better. It's gonna go all the way around here, so it's gonna be completely one piece. It's not gonna be using the seat as a structural piece. It's a piece of steel that I know is gonna handle this. I know these foot pegs are able to handle 200 pounds jumping on it at 10 feet in the air, and they're not gonna be used like that anymore because I have a seat now and I'm gonna be strapped up in there so we can use them as a structural piece. And I know what you're saying, well, is that gonna be strong enough? Look at this piece right here. For one, it's aluminum. It's not as strong as steel. It's pretty thin aluminum too. The actual way that this is gonna look on my piece is gonna be about here. This is a stronger triangle than this because this is longer. It's got a little bit more length to it. This one is gonna be just as strong. I'm obviously gonna add gussets and everything to it, but it should work out just fine. So we're gonna get these pieces taken off and let's get started. All right, so now that we got these pieces all done up, I'm gonna literally just trace out this little bracket right here, add a couple little bit more things so we can actually mount stuff off to the side of it. And then obviously I need to get longer bolts then because these are kind of small, but we can work that out later. And then we'll get it on the Arc Droid and get to cutting. I looked at it, I did not like the way it looks, and I think I have a better idea while we can actually do this. So we're actually gonna do a flat piece. Basically, it looks like a control arm. It's basically just a seat bracket that bolts up to the seat. I'm recording this now because I forgot to say this in any of the videos. Alright, so we got the test piece cut out, and these parts are flat, and these two have their holes, and they look good, but this has a weird curve to it, so I think I need to recalibrate this thing real quick. It's my fault. I accidentally touched the cable, and I felt it go off track a little bit. It's my bad, but I gotta recalibrate it. But you guys aren't gonna see that. All you're gonna see is me put this test piece in and see if it works, and then cut up a thicker piece of metal. Alright, I really love that machine, because it helps me actually realize my ideas, and then it helps me cut them out without having to take a crap ton of time. That's like maybe 20 minutes. But we're gonna make these pieces a little bit thicker and more streamlined so that they're a little bit stronger. We're just gonna do a straight line from here to here because what I'm trying to do is actually tie this bolt right here into this framework. There's gonna be a bit of a spacer, but that means that it will be bolted from the top to the bottom with 3 bolt holes actually straight to the frame like the original seating was, except it was up here, and it's gonna be a triangle. There's gonna be a piece that wraps around right here and goes all the way back so that it still has backing strength, not just seat strength. But to be honest, backing strength is not as important as seat strength, because you throw a couple washers that are fat like this big, this seat would hold more than that in any aspect that you would need. You wouldn't even need to do a back brace. I just am, just for a cool look. But we're gonna get that Arc Droid fine-tuned, and then we're just gonna kinda adjust the measurements on this piece, and then we'll get it cut out of some same size metal and then put it up. If it works, then we'll cut it out of thick metal, get it welded in here.
Yeah, yeah. I never let nobody with no motion try to hold me. I'm an OG, and that's the old me. The way I'm sitting nowadays, the money stay 9 ways. I'm sipping on a latte. Why they all call me bougie, bougie, bougie? I don't want no prayers from no haters. Probably waiting on my downfall. Mad that we made it in my wins on time. Why you trying to delay?
All right, so now that these pieces are all done, we can actually get started on welding them inside the seat. Basically, all we gotta do is literally just bolt it up, weld it up, and then fix these this one bolt right here is just off a little bit. It just needs to be re-drilled and then probably like moved over here or something. But that's, you know, easy, simple fix. Get them welded in, and then we just gotta put the exhaust on, and we'll take this thing for a rip. Obviously put an air filter on it, but I already have that, so take it for a rip. So I'm gonna get started on these little bad boys, and then you guys will see it when the seat is done and in there. Are you ready for this? Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. I forgot to record the snap, but basically we're trying to weld the exhaust on right now. This is an exhaust, and we actually, I think I'm gonna be able to cut down this thing so that it'll actually fit sideways inside the quad. We're basically literally just gonna take this top off, cut it out, remove the packing that's here, and then just shorten it back up. The reason now we're doing this is because I don't wanna spend $600 just yet on an exhaust for this thing. Now when we do the GYMKINDA, this thing's gonna be a whole new beast. But for now, this is supposed to be the budget build while we get better tools. First things first, we gotta see if we can actually do that. We gotta take these little, Allen keys out, and then basically we're just gonna see if we can chop it down and then move it forward. And while this idiot is doing his stupidity thing, he forgot to check if they were made of something that I can weld, aka steel, or at least stainless steel. Okay, so that did not work because these are 2 different materials, and I obviously do not have the capabilities to weld that. So all we're gonna do is basically chop out this fender, because it's gonna hit those things right there, add the foot pegs back in here, and take this thing for a test rip. Obviously add the air filter back in there too, but we just won't have an exhaust. I'll buy the exhaust right now, and then it'll be here next week. Actually gonna clean the whole thing, chop the fenders so that for her debut run, because I'm gonna rip the shit out of this thing. She's gonna be clean and look absolutely gorgeous.
These boys can't leave them bastards. A lot of dudes, just some undercover actress. I don't fall for it. I'm privy to all your tactics. Yeah, so try again.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is finally ready to rip and test this thing out, and we're gonna be practicing for my new series, GYMKINDA. So this is GYMKINDA 0.5. Let's get started. Let's get started, shall we?